Hey guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today I'm talking about episode 3 of Emergence on ABC. So, as you saw in my two previous reviews, I really am enjoying the show so far, and I have noticed that the character of Jo, played by Alison Tolman, is really going to be the linchpin of this series. Her performance is going to carry this throughout the whole thing. I feel like the story has progressed so rapidly, and that's one of the things that I don't absolutely love about this episode. I feel like they gave up the goat on what's happening so early. I wasn't expecting them to just tell us basically where Piper's from, basically what she is, so quickly, and I think that took away a bit of the illusion, a bit of the lore that this show had for me. I'm kind of not as invested knowing what she is and where she came from. One thing I will say is I'm excited to see how the storyline plays out with the corporation. Augur is that all-knowing, all-encompassing, like super powerful tech company, and we are finally seeing Terry O'Quinn as his character Kindred. Obviously, he is known as an iconic character in Lost, playing Locke, and I was excited to see him back on the screen. He always gave such a great performance in Lost that, I had some faith. I was like, okay, we're going to see this guy. And I thought the one scene that he actually did have in this episode was really well done for him. I think he has quite an intensity that he brings to the show. As a main villain, I think he could be really good. We didn't see a lot in this episode, so maybe that little aspect is going to keep me watching, keep me lured into it. In his back and forth with Jo, a character that is so wholesome and quirky, along with a very intense villain, could be a good back and forth. But as of right now, I just don't like that they kind of let everything out there. And the way they did it also wasn't my favorite thing in the world. Like I said previously, I feel like Benny, the investigative journalist, he feels like a plot device. He feels like he's just there to move the story along. And when he just gives this exposition dump of what Augur is and that he investigated Augur, I didn't like that. I would like a little more unraveling. I don't like being spoon-fed who these people are, where they come from, what Piper is, and it felt like they did that in this episode. Like I said about Jo's character and Alison Tolman playing that character, she gives a really solid performance. Again, in this episode, she has quite a range of emotions, and I like that we see her being, very stoic, very in the zone, being a police officer, and having these very warm, heartfelt moments with Piper, her daughter, her father, I like that she has that back and forth. It's something I've always enjoyed about her. And I really like the end of this episode where you see her realize what Piper is, and she looks at her differently. She doesn't know how to comprehend this sweet, innocent little girl that she really cares about being something else, not being exactly human. And I think that will be an interesting avenue to explore, how she's going to deal with that. Maybe she's going to have an inner struggle dealing with the fact that Piper isn't who she thought she was at the beginning of the series. Another thing about this episode that was kind of hit or miss for me was the set design and the special effects they used. I had said previously that this show's special effects look decent. They kind of are very minimal on them, and when they used them, they worked well. I thought there was a couple of times in this episode where they looked really bad, and they really struggled to look good. And there was one in particular effect that they kept using where the world was kind of disintegrating around Piper. She was having these hallucinations, these visions, and it looked really bad to me. It looked almost like a transition and like a PowerPoint effect or something I could do in iMovie. It didn't look that good. And then there was another moment where you have these little robot dogs that look like the Boston Dynamics dogs, and that didn't look great. I thought it was an interesting idea. I liked that they went that direction, but they just moved uncannily, and they just didn't look correct to me. And I think that's because I watched something like Black Mirror in the episode Metalhead, where they have that same concept, but it worked so well because it was in black and white, and it looked real, and it looked more terrifying. This looked silly, and it looked like little CG robots chasing him around. So all in all, I feel like this episode was a little hit or miss for me. It had some really good moments. I liked the introduction of Kindred and his character. But like I said, I didn't love the exposition dump. I didn't love that it kind of gave up the whole twist pretty quickly. And there's a little bit more to unravel with the medical results and the tests going on. But at the end of the day, I wanted it to stretch this idea out more and have it be more of an investigative investment into this character, when now it's kind of like, let's deal with the ramifications of what she is. So I will continue to review this series as long as I'm getting a certain amount of viewership. I said this before, I'm reviewing a lot of shows this fall season. Once the viewership drops below about 100 views or so, I'll probably just do an end of season review instead of reviewing each individual episode. So yeah, alright guys, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you next time.